Hi, dear children. So, as usual, we have to go with our previous knowledge and then we'll move to the next chapter. Okay. So, I believe that you have already learned the chapters very thoroughly, so it's very easy for you to give me the answers. Am I right? Okay. So, let me start with the first question. So, you have to name the country to which these parliament buildings belong to. Jatiyo Sangsad Bhavan. Do you remember? Yes, that is of Bangladesh. Then Sansad Bhavan, India. Then Beehive, that's of New Zealand. Center Block, Canada. Then National Diet Building, Japan. Okay, Binnenhof, Netherlands. Are you saying the answer before me saying? Okay, very good. Now Riksdag, it's of Sweden. Then Riksdag, Germany. Then Federation Council, it's of Russia. Then the capital, United States of America. Then Palace of Westminster, it's of England. So I think all have got the answers in the right way. Is it so? Yes, that is why I am keep on repeating the questions. Okay. So today what is with our topic? Have any guess? Yes, it's of the 19th chapter, Revolutions that Changed the World. So what do you know about this revolution? Revolution is a mass movement that aims to establish a new political regime by transforming the existing government. Got anything? Revolution means it's a mass movement. It aims to establish a new political regime by transforming the existing government. I believe now you have understood, is it? So here are some most influential revolutions in the history. Want to know about the revolution, the people who belongs to it? Okay, so have you heard about any revolution in your history chapters? Do you have any idea about it? Have you heard of these names? Many revolutions are there. Even in your textbook it is given as Haitian Revolution, Glorious Revolution, American Revolution, South African Revolution, Indian Independence Movement, French Revolution, Chinese Revolution, Russian Revolution. Have you heard of all these revolutions? If not so, I know that you have heard it, but we have to know more about it. So in this chapter we are going to know about all these types of revolution and more about it. That is what in this chapter. So children, are you all enjoying these classes very much? You are getting the idea of it, or are you watching it properly? So that I am keep on repeating the revisions, about the previous knowledge and then with the new topics. Okay, so here we will move to the topics, revolutions that change the world. Okay, so I am not extending more, but we will move to the chapter now itself. Okay, so children, let's start with the first one. A bloodless revolution in 1688 that overthrew the absolute monarchy and established a constitutional monarchy in England. What is that revolution called? Any idea? Yes, Glorious Revolution. What is it? Glorious Revolution. Okay. So, Glorious Revolution also called the Revolution of 1688 and the bloodless revolution took place from 1688 to 1689 in England. The Glorious Revolution was called glorious because, do you know the answer? No idea. Because all of the objectives and goals of the revolutionaries were achieved without any bloodshed. Okay, so this glorious revolution is also called bloodless revolution or the revolution of 1688. Okay, so we move to the next one. This revolution, that is a revolution under the leadership of George Washington, in which the settlers in America fought against the sovereignty of the British Empire, and America became independent on July 4th, 1776. What is this revolution called? Yes, American Revolution. Very good, very correct. American Revolution. So let's know more about it. American Revolution was an ideological and political revolution which occurred in colonial North America. Okay. So this revolution opened new markets and new trade relationships. So the Americans' victory also opened the Western territories for invasion and settlement, which created new domestic markets. Then Americans began to create their own manufacturers, no longer content to rely on those in Britain. Got it? So that's about the American Revolution. Now the third one, a revolution from 1789 to 1799, in which France went from monarchy rule to a republic ruled by the people and then to a dictatorship run by Napoleon. Do you have any guess, children? Which revolution is this? Of course, French Revolution. Right answer. So you know all this. Okay. So let's know about this French Revolution. The French Revolution began in May 1789 when the ancient regime was abolished in favor of a constitutional monarchy. Got it? I'll repeat. The French Revolution began in May 1789 when the ancient regime was abolished in favor of a constitutional monarchy. Okay, so that's about the French Revolution. Now we move to the next one. So first listen what I am saying. After that you try to guess which revolution is this. Okay. So a revolution in 1791 that took place in the former French colony of Saint-Domingue by the slaves to fight for their freedom. Finally, in 1804, they succeeded to end the slavery system and founded the sovereign state of Haiti, the first black republic in the world. Okay, so there is a clue what I have read. Which revolution is that? Haitian Revolution. What is it? Haitian Revolution. Okay, so we'll know little more about this Haitian Revolution. Haitian Revolution has often been described as the largest and most successful slave rebellion in 1791, and by 1803 they had succeeded in ending not just slavery but French control over the colony. Got it? That is what about the Haitian Revolution. So we'll move to the next revolution, that is Russian Revolution. So Russian Revolution, a pair of revolutions in 1917 in which the people of Russia led by Vladimir Lenin revolted against the despotic rule of Tsar Nicholas II and established the world's first communist country, the Soviet Union. That is what about the Russian Revolution. So the social causes of the Russian Revolution mainly came from centuries of oppression towards the lower classes by the Tsarist regime and Nikola's failures in World War I. So the rapid industrialization of Russia also resulted in urban overcrowding and poor conditions for urban industrial workers. So during the Russian Revolution, the Bolsheviks, led by leftist revolutionary Vladimir Lenin, seized power and destroyed the tradition of Tsarist rule. So the Bolsheviks would later become the Communist Party of the Soviet Union. So that's about the Russian Revolution. Got it, children? Okay, so the next one is Chinese Revolution. What is it? Chinese Revolution. A revolution that took place in China from 1911 to 1949, which overthrew the Manchu dynasty. Communist rule was established in the People's Republic of China under the leadership of Mao Zedong. Okay, so that's about the Chinese Revolution, and we know little more about Chinese Revolution. So the Chinese Communist Revolution, known in mainland China as the War of Liberation, was the conflict led by the Communist Party of China and Chairman Mao Zedong that resulted in the proclamation of the People's Republic of China. Okay. Children, don't get upset with all these things, just to understand about the revolution, that's all. Okay, now the next one is Indian independence movement. So let's know more about it. A revolution that took place in India from 1857 to 1947, in which numerous freedom fighters such as Rani Lakshmi Bai, Mangal Pandey, Bhagat Singh, Subhash Chandra Bose, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, Jawaharlal Nehru and Mahatma Gandhi fought against the British rule. India finally got independence on 15th August 1947. So that's about the Indian independence movement. Okay? Or you have to know little more about it? Okay, I'll tell you. Indian independence movement was a series of historic events with the ultimate aim of ending the British rule in India. So the movement spanned from 1857 to 1947. That is what I have told you just now. The first nationalistic revolutionary movement for Indian independence emerged from Bengal. Okay, keep in mind about it. Okay, now the last one is South African Revolution. What is it? South African Revolution. So, it's a non-violent revolution in which a black activist, Nelson Mandela, spent 27 years in prison for standing against a government that was committing egregious human rights abuses against black South Africans and led the way for the abolition of apartheid in 1994. That's about the South African Revolution. So the Great Depression and World War II brought increasing economic woes to South Africa, and policies of racial segregation also happened in South Africa. So in 1948, the Afrikaner National Party won the general election under the slogan Apartheid. Got it, children? So that's about the South African Revolution. So just we have to have a look on what we have learned today about the Glorious Revolution, American Revolution, French Revolution, then Haitian Revolution, Russian Revolution, Chinese Revolution, Indian Independence Movement, and finally with the South African Revolution. Okay, I believe you have got it. So children, as we follow as for the video class, let me ask you a few questions and you can think about it and we'll discuss those questions for the next class. Okay. So, my questions to you. Okay. What do you know about Iraq War, Gulf War, then World War First, Battle of Plassey, Battle of Kalinga, then First Battle of Panipat, Battle of Haldikati. Okay, so you have to, I think you have heard of these names before, but still have think on it about these wars, because our next chapter is definitely of the wars, that is battles and wars. That is for the next class. Okay, so I believe you will definitely think of all these wars, and when I take the class it will be more easy for you to understand. Okay, children. So children, are you sure that this 19th chapter, revolutions that changed the world, it makes you clear? Sure about all these revolutions? So once again, just have a look into it. Tell me, which is that bloodless revolution? Do you have any guess? Yes, now you can easily answer it. Of course, it is glorious revolution. Then let me ask you, which revolution under the leadership of George Washington? Exactly, American Revolution. Okay, so you are getting it. Then which revolution in 1791 that took place in the former French colony of Saint Domingue by the slaves to fight for their freedom? Haitian Revolution. So now I am very sure that you have learned this chapter very clearly. Is it, children? Okay. So in under which revolution that Vladimir Lenin? Ah, yes, Russian Revolution. Okay. So Mao Zedong? Yes, Chinese Revolution. By the name itself, you can guess that, is it? Okay, so you are getting it now. Then, which is that non-violent revolution in which a black activist Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison? South African Revolution, exactly. So, I am not going much, but because I believe that you have got this chapter very clearly in your mind. Okay. So, take care, children. That's all for this today. Thank you.